Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well today. As the title says, I am here to talk about my October wrap-up, and this month was a pretty good reading month, and I read so many books that I just absolutely loved with like capital L, loved. And yeah, I just feel really good about this month. I'm so excited for next month. I feel like I don't know, in a reading rush almost, and just reading a lot, and I'm reading a lot of really good books. So yeah, let's start. Connor, what is that noise? Connor. Oh, low-key, I thought this was like the start of a scary movie or like a sci-fi movie. I was like, is there like a spaceship out there? Okay, so the first book I read this month was Luster by Leilani, and I actually filmed a book review on another video, so I'll link it here. It'll be a tag. But I went very into detail as to what this book is about. I actually like read the synopsis and all that. So if you want to know in detail what it's about, just go on and check that video out. But here's a quick take of this book. Life as a 20-something New Yorker is far more glamorous than this biting account of sex, racism, art, and power. And I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. It was very beautifully written, very sad, but in a dry and very distant way, and I loved it. I loved it. This is her debut novel. It was so good. I will definitely be reading more by Leilani. The next book I read was A Reaper at the Gates, which is book number 3 in the An Ember in the Ashes series by Sabaa Tahir. So I gave this book a 4.5, but I rounded up on Goodreads, but only because I listened to it and the first like 8 hours were a little bit slow for me, and I just wasn't getting into it because I didn't necessarily like where the story was headed. I ended up liking it, but at that point I still didn't, and I thought it was a little slow. But then after the 9-hour mark, I loved it. I have a very fun video coming where I filmed my experience because I stayed up all night to finish reading it. Then I listened to The Poet X by Acevedo, and I honestly really loved this book as well. I read The Reaper at the Gates and this one in the same like 24-hour period, and both of those made me cry so much, so I was emotionally drained. But I absolutely loved this book. It recounts the story in verse of a girl in New York and kind of her growing up experience. She's Dominican, so you're kind of seeing her trying to integrate into like an American world while having very strict Dominican parents, and you just follow her discovering herself and discovering her talent and a lot of the pain and grudges a teenage girl growing against, I don't know, in such a tough city with such a tough family. And yeah, it was just really good. It was crazy to me how much character development we saw in just, I think it's like 200 pages of verses. I listened to it and I think it was like 6 hours. I definitely like could relate and understand a lot of the Caribbean culture qualities of this book, especially once living in the United States. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars as well. That is 10, 5. There we go. Then I read Get a Life, Chloe Brown, which is the first book in the Brown Sisters series by Talia Hibbert, and oh my god, I love this book too so much. I have a video where I go and buy this book, so that'll be up here too. But I had really been wanting to read these for so long. Like everyone on BookTube's been raving about them. And then Tiana like rated both of the books, Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and Take a Hint, Danny Brown, as her book of the month. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And oh my god, I loved it. I'm currently rating Take a Hint, Danny Brown, and they're just both so good. If you're looking for some like just something to make you happy and like really ship a couple, and good writing and just a good plot and character development and literally everything, read this book. Like, I know everyone's been saying this, but read it. It's just so good. Definitely a 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read the 10th volume in Tokyo Ghoul by Sweet Ishida. I give it 5 stars too. Okay, sorry, the camera died. Yeah, everything this month has been like just so good. If you don't know, Tokyo Ghoul is horror manga, and you follow this boy who was transplanted an organ by Ghoul, which are human eaters so they look like humans, and he becomes like a half ghoul, half human, and then he basically has to like give up his life, and you kind of follow him through that, and it's very graphic, but it's so good. The art is so good, and the story is just amazing. So yeah, I know I've said I'm gonna read all of them. I think there's 14 volumes, but I'll get there. I've just got 4 more. Then I read Red at the Bone by Jacqueline Woodson, and this was another book that I really loved and really caught me off guard with how beautiful it was. I didn't know much about it going into it. I just saw that it was available as an audiobook, and it had been on my TBR, and I picked it up, and I was just so surprised and overwhelmed with emotions, but in the best way possible. This writing is so poetic and so beautiful. It's just lyrical. Very, very short. So if you're looking for something meaningful and really well written, but you don't want to spend necessarily too much time on it, I would definitely recommend this book. It says so much, and it has so much. It's rich in stories and in characters, and it's so good. I feel like that's really hard to do. So the book opens up in 2001, and it's the evening of Melody's coming of age ceremony, which she is turning 16, and her mother had her at that same age, so she never had a ceremony. And from there we pick up and jump throughout time and throughout all these family members' points of views, and you just get to find out so much about their own personal backgrounds and the backgrounds of the family and how they all ended up in this one moment. And I can't really say much more about that, except that it was just so beautiful and had so much insight into so many things in life. So there's this line that I'm gonna read because I really like how it describes the book. But it goes, Red at the Bone most strikingly looks at the ways in which young people must so often make long-lasting decisions about their lives, even before they have begun to figure out who they are and what they want to be. And I just think that really explains a lot of this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars just because, like I said, it was really short, but I was left with wanting a little more, especially after something that happens that's really big. I wanted to maybe see how the family dealt with that particular thing. I'm trying to leave it very spoiler free. I think maybe like 50 to 80 more pages would have really wrapped up the story in a way where I felt fully satisfied. But yeah, it was still such a good book, and I would definitely recommend. Then I read The Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton, which was just so fun. I'd read a couple series books coming up to this, and it was just so fun. This was one of my most anticipated books of the year, and it's a second novel. I filmed a whole book review on it, so if you want to check it out, go check that out. Yeah, it's a mystery on a ship. Is there a devil? Is there not? That's all I'm saying. And I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read Sheets by Brenna Thummler, which is a graphic novel. I didn't really know what I was getting into. I know I had just seen it around booktube, and I honestly thought the cover was super cute, like the little ghost and the laundry thingy. Yeah, that was just so cute to me. So I picked it up, and it ended up dealing with a lot of grief in a very juvenile and wholesome way. I think it's a book that could be really good at teaching kids about losing a family member or just dealing with death in general. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say. It was short, and I would recommend, if that's what you're kind of looking for, give it 3 out of 5 stars. I don't know if I said that. And then I read another very anticipated book of the year, and it was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and I have the Book of the Month copy, which I actually really love how they just like print them very simply. I don't have the, what's it called? I'm forgetting the sleeves, you know, like the actual cover, because I left it at home just to not damage it. But yeah, as you can see, I annotated this. This is a very personal book to me now. I absolutely loved it. It's about this girl, Addie LaRue, who makes a deal with the devil essentially to live life, but he of course twists the word around and makes it so she can live forever, but no one can remember who she is. And not only can they not remember who she is, she can't leave marks, so she can't draw, she can't paint, she can't do anything. And you just kind of jump through different historical events in her life and the future where she meets a boy who does remember her. And yeah, you just follow their story and it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. This is definitely not a book that is gonna be like action-packed or anything like that. You're just reading it for the beauty of it, but it still keeps you hooked. Like, I was turning page after page. I just loved this book so much, and I will definitely be reading more by her because I just loved the writing and everything it had to say. And yeah, no, this was a great book. I will say, literally, I loved the ending up until like the last little paragraph because I'm a bit more of a romantic, so I wanted something a little bit different, but I could understand if you're not a romantic how you could have loved that ending. I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, I've also got a really fun video coming soon with this book. Maybe. I can't make promises. And then I want to quickly mention I did pick up Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I think that's how you pronounce it. And I will have to say I did DNF it after about 20% in, and I just couldn't do it. I didn't really like the main character. He seemed very superficial and honestly just rude. And I was a little disappointed just because everyone raves about it. So I think it might be a tad overrated because I wasn't loving it very much and I had to put it down. And then I'm also currently reading Beartown by Frederick Backman, and I'm almost done with that and I am loving it. I feel like I really want to read more books by him now. And the other book I'm reading is Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. So yeah, just wanted to quickly mention them. That's it for my October wrap up. Let me know if you've read any of these down below. I would love to talk about them. And yeah, if you want to see more of me, subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I hope y'all have a great and wonderful day. Bye!